Hey, how's it going, everyone? Can you retire on $500,000 invested into dividend stocks? A dividend investing strategy. And full disclosure up front, the companies I'm about to mention are not dividend compounders with cheese. In fact, this is a hypothetical financial model of if I wanted to retire today, which companies would I invest in right now that have high dividend yields and are mature and slow moving? Because when I retire, I would care more about stable income than growth. So please do keep that in mind, you keyboard warriors. I know these are not the best companies. And keep your shirt on, Joey. Nobody wants to see that hairy stomach. Alright, so the companies that we are investing into with higher than average dividend yields will be Altria, one of the biggest tobacco players in the world. And number 2 is CVS, which is a healthcare conglomerate that has been beaten up lately. And then there's SCHD, which is the best dividend ETF. Subjective, I know. And last but not least, Whirlpool. More likely than not, you have one of their appliances right now in your home. And broken down, I try to expose most of the 500K towards the higher dividend yield choices, which meant 50% of it allocated into Altria, 25% into Whirlpool, 15% into CVS, and 10% into SCHD. And oh yeah, 1% to your wife's boyfriend. Just kidding. But let's go ahead and look at the numbers that you care about. The dividend yield was a little over 7%, and it spit out an average Texas teacher's starting salary at about $36,000 annually in dividends. Monthly, that's just shy of $3,000, which is kind of cute. And then let's talk about the tax implications. At $36,000 a year in dividends, those qualified dividend payments would be taxed at a rate of 0%. But depending on your local state and regulations, you might pay some taxes. And at this point in the video, we're probably all thinking the same thing. It might be a little rough surviving on just this dividend income. But fear not, my friend. If we don't touch the principal amount, which is the initial $500,000, then the dividends should grow and pay out more every year. Stay with me. Check this out. So if we do not add any more money into this hypothetical portfolio and we do not reinvest the dividends, then in 20 years, the annual dividend payout should be around $99,000. I like the sound of that. It's almost a six-figure salary in just dividends, and the final valuation would be around $900,000. So basically what I'm trying to say is I have trouble understanding people who are resistant towards dividend investing. But I'll tell you what, it's probably the same type of people who choose to go number 2 in the bathroom and not wipe. Yes, I'm talking about walking around with a crusty, itchy butthole. Nasty. Well, hold on there, buddy. You mean your average Trump supporter? But hey, who said that? Now, just for fun, obviously this is a video about retirement, but if you were to reinvest the dividends into the portfolio to buy more shares, then in 20 years, the annual dividend payout should be around $415,000, all else equal. It's pretty wild to see the power of dividends compounding, right? And what's even more wild is the final portfolio valuation, which would be around $3.7 million on the basis of a 3% share growth rate every year and 5% dividend growth rate. And of course, without adding any more outside money into the portfolio. It's not like I said the share price appreciation is going to be at a rate of like 11 or 15%. I literally said 3%. So it's exactly the same circumstances as the first situation, except you're using that income to buy more shares. And while I'm on that topic, funny enough, I'm a pretty nostalgic kind of guy that always thinks about the good times and the past. However, one thing I have learned in life is that people change and people move on. Your idea of home won't really feel the same once you're all grown up. Take it from me. So I'm trying to make an effort to enjoy what's happening in front of me right now these days instead of dwelling on my past. Like 30 minutes ago, I had an entire box of Dominoes, and now I'm down to one slice. Why is life so cruel? So to answer the original question, can I retire with $500,000? You absolutely could with $3,000 a month in dividends, but you would have to practice minimalism, be very frugal, and have hobbies that don't cost too much money, like bird watching, watching movies, or going to the library. But you know what? I would say that could be the recipe for a happy retirement. Because think about it, this lifestyle would be low maintenance, little materialistic possession, and a lot of time on your hands to get involved in your community. Maybe you can even volunteer to be a church Bible study leader, or you could even pick up running as a passion. And you know you've been talking about how you would like to try a marathon one day. Oh, what is David Goggins doing in your empty living room? Well, you're not getting any younger, so you can go full on David Goggins and run all that you want with your free time. My only request is, please do keep your shouting to a minimum when you run by my neighborhood. And please keep your shirt on, okay? But to get back on topic, keep in mind, as long as you don't sell any shares, the dividend income that pours in will get bigger year over year. And that's because good companies tend to raise their dividends every single year. With that said, what you see on the left-hand side of your screen right now is if we don't reinvest the dividends and just keep the dividends as income. Look at the dividend payments and how they grow year after year. Kind of like your love handles, right? I'm talking about the fat that's around your waist. Every year you get older, the bigger your beer gut gets. And here's something dividend investors need to be aware of. When you're able to receive Social Security checks when you're old, that's an additional $1,700 a month on average to complement your dividends. And even if your husband doesn't work, he'll still get a Social Security check based on your salary records. But calm your Karen titties down, please. It's like the unemployed spouse using their partner's rank or title to get special treatment. They're the worst. They literally go around saying things like, "Do you know who my husband is?" And for me, it's like, I don't care who your husband is. This is a Wendy's and you still gotta pay for the Dave's double or get out. And this is not financial advice, but if this was me with 500 grand invested into dividend paying stocks, I would buy a home by saving up some of the dividend income and staying at my miserable job for a year or two. And check this out, I found this home from browsing Zillow. So the house that you see on your screen right now was constructed in 1877, and its asking price on the market is about $100,000. The estimated mortgage payment is $735 a month. With insurance, utilities, and other bills, let's just go ahead and say it's about $1,200 a month all in. Not a bad deal. You would have about 60% of your dividends left over for other expenses if this was your monthly bills. And here's the best part. Apparently, this is a turnkey, meaning it's not a fixer-upper. You can just move in and just call this your home. But excuse me, ma'am, there's gotta be a catch, right? Well, I guess it was built in 1877, so more likely than not, it's probably haunted by a ghost or something. So if you don't mind waking up to Casper in the middle of the night, then it sounds like it could be your kind of fun. And I'm not trying to scare anyone, but does this not kind of look like the home in the Insidious movie series? I mean, that's what I see, and it kind of terrifies me. Like this is when that little boy with the hat is looking through the window, and the song goes like, "Tiptoe through the window." Oh my goodness, that movie, it's so good. But I mean, all things considered, for $100,000, this sounds and looks like a really good home. But I guess another catch or a call out is that it's located in Freeport, Illinois, which is a really random Midwestern town that's about 2 hours away from Chicago. I'm telling you right now, if I was considering moving to Illinois, this home does not look bad. And I promise I'm not a realtor, it's just I found it by chance on Zillow. We're talking about 4 bedrooms and 2 baths, 2,500 square feet for $100,000. If this exact same home was in Los Angeles or San Francisco or Seattle, it would be upwards of like $3 million. No exaggeration. So to be able to afford this kind of home for 100 grand in the Midwest, not a bad deal. I don't know, sometimes when I get bored, I just look up random housing markets and just browse what's available, with no intention of buying whatsoever. It's just a guilty pleasure of mine. But I hear you. $500,000 sounds like a lot and impossible to reach. But if you just put away $200 a week, or whenever you can towards your portfolio, it's going to grow. If you save more money than you spend, you'll definitely sprint towards a big retirement number like 500 grand. Now, granted, if you gamble your money away into speculative nonsense stocks, then there's no hope for you. You just don't get it. With dividends, it's an entirely entirely different ball game. I'm talking about slow and steady money invested into dividend compounders with cheese. That's the path that I'm personally taking and doing. Because the data and history says it's a path to wealth. And no, it's not overnight kind of funny money, but over the long run, dividend investing works out. If you haven't already, I'm telling you, you need to watch my video that I made about Ron Reed, who is a janitor that became a millionaire through dividend investing. Just watch that video. And more likely than not, if you're here and watching this, you probably share similar views as me. You probably resonate with me when I say that it's better to invest into VU and how In-N-Out burgers hit the spot whenever you're hungry. And of course, Lord of the Rings is hands down the best movie series of all time. Don't even question or argue with me. And one more recommendation. If you sell your car like I did and ride your bicycle everywhere, that's like another $300 back into your wallet every month that you can invest. And not only that, leg day will be every day. And when I tell you my legs look thick and juicy, I'm not talking about a Costco rotisserie chicken, but bike riding has transformed my lower body. Strangely enough, I've got a toned booty now. And on that note, public transportation isn't so bad. Sometimes it gets a little rowdy when there's someone screaming or having a bad day, or if there's someone sitting next to you that's coughing. But for the most part and most days of the week, it gets you from point A to point B without any problems, and you can listen to a podcast or watch a YouTube video or take a quick 10-minute nap. And trust me when I say, I'd rather be packed like sardines in a subway than be stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic in Los Angeles or Washington, D.C. Speaking of Washington, D.C., something about Maryland drivers. There's gotta be something in the water that makes them allergic to using turn signals. Hands down the worst drivers in the country. Whenever I see someone driving a car with the Maryland license plates, I already know my day is gonna be bad. Jokes aside, I don't know about you, but if $500,000 is your retirement number, it does not sound terrible. You wouldn't have to change your way of life too much to enjoy your life in peace and in retirement. Well, that is of course, unless you live in San Francisco or Seattle. Then it would be a struggle eating canned soup every night because $3,000 a month is not gonna be enough. And if you want some more ideas, check out my video on retiring off of $200,000 invested into dividend stocks. I go over some options abroad that I think would sound sweet to the average dividend investor with small nipples. I promise you'll laugh. Anyways, that's it for today. I'll talk to you next time. Stay safe.